I'm Mike Quincy, and this is the review of the 2024 Hyundai Kona. It's now larger and more expensive, with a radically redesigned exterior taking it slightly more upscale. And this might be a good thing, because this segment is really hot. The Kona competes with the Honda HR-V, the Subaru Crosstrek, and the Toyota Corolla Cross. So here's what we bought. For our test program, we bought a 2024 all-wheel drive Kona SEL, which starts at $26,950. We added special paint and the convenience package. With the $1,335 destination fee, the total price of our Kona came to $31,440. The final assembly point for the Kona is Ulsan, Korea. Our Kona SEL came with a 147 horsepower 2-liter 4-cylinder engine matched to a continuously variable transmission. The EPA estimated fuel economy is 27 miles per gallon overall. You can also get a Kona with an up-level 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that produces 190 horsepower matched with an 8-speed automatic transmission. There's also an all-electric version, and both front and all-wheel drive are available. So this is what you have to look forward to. Inside, the new Kona is somewhat roomier than the old one. It's a nice, bright, airy cabin, good glass area, and the driving position has lots of nice elbow room, shoulder room, headroom. I'm not quite 6 feet tall, and there's lots of space here for even, average-sized drivers. This center console here is not intrusive. You don't have a big blocky piece of plastic jutting into your right knee. And we also like the low dashboard, and the screen is kind of out of the way. But when you go to adjust the steering wheel, a number of our drivers felt like the top of the steering wheel rim was cutting off a lot of vital information on the top of the driver information screen. So a number of our drivers felt that they had to raise the steering wheel up in kind of a bus-like position to be able to see the tachometer and the speedometer. If Hyundai moved that down here, you could see it. So it isn't necessarily the screen itself that's the problem, how they put the information in the screens. So we weren't too impressed with our SEL trim's interior. I mean, it's simply just a plastic tsunami everywhere you look. For the window sills, no soft touch materials at all on the dashboard. There's no soft inner panel for the door. This center console area for your elbow rest feels kind of flimsy. Just a reminder, it's about $31,000 for this SEL. But there are some bright spots. For example, we kind of like the brushed aluminum finish over around the mid-dash area. A lot of the buttons operate very smoothly. They're nicely damped. They have good feedback on the steering wheel. These metal thumb wheels are very satisfying to use, good tactile feel. We really appreciate the leather wrapped steering wheel, which is not always a given. It's not all bad, but so it's kind of a mixed bag when it comes to fit and finish. Most of the controls in the Kona are very straightforward, and you can see that Hyundai is doing kind of the current widescreen instrument and infotainment system like most cars are. It looks like one big screen. It's actually 2 different screens, but it's very easy to figure out and to operate. The one snag that we had is this very funky gear selector. Unlike the traditional gear selector, this is a twist action. So you twist forward to go into drive, you twist backwards to go into reverse, and you hit this button at the end to put it in park, which seems on its surface very self-explanatory, but it's a little weird at first, but you definitely do get used to it. The Kona is super easy to live with day to day, starting out just with the wireless charger that comes with the convenience package that we got with our Kona. There's also super convenient charge ports. Now, there's good open storage in the center console here. One of the unique features is this configurable cup holder. You could put cup holders in here, or you can push these in and they go away and you have a lot more open space, and you want to deploy them, you hit these little buttons, which is kind of a neat little party trick. But the downside, it's unlined. There's no rubber liner here. So you take something like, I don't know, your keys, and you drop them in here. It makes a huge racket. And as you're driving around, these keys and anything else you put in this center area is going to make a lot of noise. It's just like you've got configurability, you've got space, but the final operation is flawed because there's nothing to suppress the noise. The Kona's cargo area is pretty generous for a subcompact SUV. The cargo floor is flush with the sill here, so it's really easy to lift things in and out of the back of this car. The liftgate opens up pretty wide, giving you easy access to load things in the back. Like most SUVs, the Kona has a 60-40 split rear seat. It allows you to really expand the cargo area. The rear seats do ramp up just a little bit toward the front seats, but it really won't make much of a difference. So visibility outside of this Kona is pretty good. The low dash definitely helps with the forward views. This front pillar here, often referred to as the A-pillar, is not too thick. The glass area all around is pretty generous. However, the rear 3/4 visibility is hampered by very thick roof pillars, but at least the rear window is pretty generous. And part of the driving experience, naturally, is the driver's seat. And the one in our tested SEL model wasn't bad. There's lots of power adjustments. The seats are well bolstered to kind of hold you in place during even slightly aggressive cornering. However, the cushions themselves are pretty firm. A number of our drivers thought it's not a bad seat for a short drive, maybe an hour, but after 2 hours or more, a lot of our drivers were ready to get out. The rear seat space isn't too bad. There's a decent amount of headroom and foot room, and super producer Andrew Belize is back there filming us right now, and he doesn't seem to be too uncomfortable. In terms of handling, when we pushed the Kona, kind of hard on our test track, it performed fairly well overall, largely due to its smaller size. However, the Kona it doesn't feel totally vague. The steering does have a little bit of heft to it, which means it's not too light. It's not like your grandfather's old Buick that you can just steer with one finger. So there is some heft, there is some feedback, but it's not really as satisfying as some of the better ones out there. And we're on our ride road right now, which is why we're kind of bumping around a little bit. Yes, we do have a bumpy road to see how cars handle it. Compared to the previous generation Kona, this model's ride got better. A lot of the impacts are kept from really punching through to the cabin. It's still a firm ride, but it really doesn't beat you up too much inside. So the interior is pretty quiet compared to the class, but the main culprit here is the engine and the continuously variable transmission. The engine doesn't have a lot of power. It's enough to get you around town without much drama. But as you're looking to merge onto a highway, for example, and you really put your foot into it, that tells you the engine is working hard, and there's a fair amount of racket between that and the transmission. Certainly one of the weaker parts of the Kona. So we're always talking about safety features in the cars that we test here at Consumer Reports. Almost all of the active safety features that we prize come standard on the Kona, except for automatic emergency braking that operates at highway speeds, as well as adaptive cruise control. Both of those are optional. All in all, we're finding that the Kona delivers sort of part of the typical Hyundai values. There's a lot of content here for the money, but this redesigned model really isn't raising the bar all that much in terms of handling noise suppression compared to the ones that rate higher in Consumer Reports testing. It's not a bad effort, but it's definitely not a home run. So when it comes to buying, we would first consider the SEL model with the convenience package. And the convenience package is pretty important because it gets you a leather-wrapped steering wheel, it gets you a dual-zone automatic climate system. So a lot of the features that you come to really appreciate in your day-to-day driving. To see all the results of our testing, as well as other competing subcompact SUVs, head to consumerreports.org.